to episode 2 of the Frivolous and Frugal Knitting Podcast. It's a podcaster with two sisters who look at both the frugal and the frivolous side of knitting and have a lot of fun with it. Mm-hmm. A heartfelt, I can't even speak. And there is no editing in the making of this video.
That's why you shouldn't drink early in the morning.
A heartfelt thank you to all of those who are coming back for episode 2, and welcome to all new viewers. And we really want to thank people who sent us little notes or messages or got in contact with us on things that we could do better. So we really appreciate that, and we'd ask you to keep doing the same thing as we go through this. So we are broadcasting from a closed location somewhere between Green Bay and Ohio, yes. And here's a hint: Windy City.
Yeah, and whatever you do, don't read our cups, our coffee cups. It'll give away.
Brought to you by a Hampton Inn. So as we go through today, we will show you what's on our needles, what's off our needles, what's frivolous, what's frugal. But just a quick introduction. I am Dawn. I am the fourth of 8 siblings in our family. I am Dawn Marie Knits on Ravelry and on Instagram. And
I am Penny, number 1 of the 8, or the first, I should say, which sounds better.
Number
1, thank you. As opposed to number 8. Number 1, and I am the Apron Lady on Ravelry, and I am the Knitting Apron Lady on Instagram. And we do have a special guest with us today, so if you don't mind, I'd like to introduce her.
Absolutely. And you should probably wear an apron since your name is Apron Lady. Oh yes, look at here.
Yes, I would like to introduce to all of you Pearl. Now, Pearl joined our family several years ago. Prior to the adoption, her name was Susan. But she has joined us and will be modeling several of our knits for us. And I have to tell you, Dawn, she was a delightful, ideal travel partner.
She put her in the front seat so she could be in the carpool lane.
I might have. Anyway, she did have a hat on. No. Kept to herself, very quiet, and she really still has a way of turning heads.
Not for good reasons. Okay, does that not look like a J.C. Penney model from the early 1980s with that
smoky
makeup?
Eyes? Please don't hurt her feelings, okay? Pearl's a vital part of this podcast. All right, so you will see Pearl on and off throughout the podcast. Stop.
Okay.
We also have a brand new expression for us. We are going to introduce to you COFOs. And COFOs are projects that we cast on and they became finished objects between our episode podcast. So we are going to begin with our COFOs.
Should I hold Pearl?
Well, if you don't mind. There you go. I do have a couple, you just put her on my lap.
That's right.
I have a couple of COFOs. One is the Hufflepuff Bankhead Hat. This is in Misty Rain's Hufflepuff colorway. So this was just a man's hat, and as I told you before, all the men in my family are getting Bankheads this year for Christmas. So this is the Bankhead hat. If you're looking for a simple pattern, very easy to do in public or in the movie theater, this is a great pattern.
And Mint Rain has an Etsy shop, and we'll make sure that's in the show notes. She does all of the Harry Potter colorways and all the different weights, and she'll even make the runs longer if you would like whiter strips.
Yeah.
So that is really nice.
And
she's a pleasure to work with.
That's good to know because she did give you that wider.
Yeah, I haven't knit it yet, but yeah.
Self-striping. I also made a matching Hufflepuff hat for my grandson, because the Hufflepuff hat is for his daddy. So that's just a small beanie, and it is also in the Bankhead, and you will find in my show notes how I modified it with cast on and the number of rows I knit to make it for an infant. And then the other Bankhead that I finished is my Honey B Hat, and for those of you who don't know, my husband and I are beekeepers, and so this in some ways reflects a bee. The head, the abdomen, and the thorax. So that is my third bankhead hat that I did in between shows.
Co-phones. I think Pearl's trying to hug me or something.
Pearl.
Okay, if you're creeped out by mannequins, so am I. All right. And she's got perky boobs. I get it. Okay. All right.
I couldn't do anything about that. The only thing I added to this faux ball cable hat is the pom-pom, and I really do think it sets it apart.
It does. I like that.
Yeah, I did that one. So I think that's cute too. And then the other co-faux that Dawn and I did was a cowl. And Dawn, do you want to talk about that? It was a test knit.
Yeah. We test knit for Joanne Kiley for this cowl that is called Possibilities. It went live on Ravelry yesterday, I believe, or that's when I saw it. So Possibilities cowl, we both test knit in DK. You guys, this is a delightful little knit. It's just one skein of DK. And you could make it as wider if you wanted, or adjust accordingly, and one skein of fingering weight too. So when you see it on the project page, you'll see some in fingering weight. Yeah, try it on. I just think that looks so nice.
I think so too. And I'm not one to normally wear cowls, but to me this is just the right length. It's not tight around my neck, and it allows me to vent myself should I be having a private summer.
Private summer. I.e. menopausal hot flash. Yeah, so if we start to turn red, then you know why. I did mine in Finley DK, which is from Juniper Moon.
Yeah.
Amazing runoff, you guys, when the water turned really blue, but it didn't seem to phase the color at all. So just be careful if you're using two colors. Make sure that your colors aren't going to run.
I do like
or bleed. What's the term? I don't know. Run or bleed or...
I would think either of those would work.
Yeah, both of them make me say words that aren't very nice. So, which we will not say on the podcast.
Thank you very much. This is a G-rated podcast. What you might not be able to see in Dawn's yarn is it has some very rich green undertones.
Oh yeah, it's called dappled.
Dabble and purple, so very nice.
Okay, what do you do with this little not cleavage? Okay.
And I knit mine in 3 Irish girls in their superwash, and I would say I had no bleeding.
Yeah,
so
nice.
Yeah, and it's nice and flimsy and drapey.
Yeah. I think I might do a couple of these for Christmas gifts.
Yes.
So Joanne Kiley, Possibilities Cowl, available on Ravelry.
Yes.
All right. I do need to put a disclaimer in for this podcast.
Okay, go ahead.
You know, some places have a disclaimer like, nobody was injured in the making of this movie. Okay. In the spirit of the frugal person sitting close to me, we have not spent 1 red cent in the making of this podcast.
I feel so vindicated and affirmed.
People are saying well, you need to use this software and do this, and it's like,
no, okay. I'd rather buy yarn.
Thanks.
And I do have one more COFO.
Okay.
And this is a cowl that the recipe and the pattern was modified, and it's called Sturmwolke, and that's German for storm cloud. And again, it takes 1 skein of worsted. I just happen to have an extra skein of Plymouth Encore, but you can see the variations in
that's
this.
pretty.
In
you
this
really
cowl.
see it on camera.
Yes. And so I did that up real quick. There's a woman who attends our local yarn shop. Her name is Miss Karen, and she is the one who really modified the pattern. So I have included all of those instructions on my Ravelry page. And I have to say that she thought Martina Bame may have been the originator of this pattern. I searched Ravelry, the internet. I could not find the original pattern. So if anyone knows where the original is, I believe it was written in fingering weight, please let me know, and we'll make sure that we let Martina know that we just did some modifications.
And let the record so reflect that Penny did a Ravelry page.
Yes, okay, so, all right, if you all do nothing else, please go to the Ravelry page, because I find it so difficult to spend that much time on doing a Ravelry page when I don't even know if anyone looks at it.
Well, we will know.
We better do that now, right? All right, I don't think we have any more COFOs.
I don't think we do. Nope.
So the next segment is What's on your needles?
Am I going first? What's on my needles? Let's see. I am doing the Loop Cowl by Casa Pinkham. This was part of a mystery shawl class, I guess. I'm taking at Magpie's Cottage in Sheboygan, Wisconsin. So, obviously that's upside down, isn't it?
It is.
So it started with the garter tab and then progressing. So you have 2 yarns. So I've used this variegated black and white. It's by Knitted Wit as kind of the middle, and then this flash of hot pink is a hedgehog singles. I think hollyhock's the color. I like this, but the gals at the knit shop who I just love theirs, they went with a solid here, like a solid blue, and then that bright pink, or even a bright variegated looked really nice. I'll wear this and get a lot of use out of it. But I think one of the great things about knitting with other people and all working on the same project, everybody picks different yarn. Mm-hmm. And when you do that, you get to see the same garment or the same item done in so many different ways. And I just think that's amazingly
I do too.
Beneficial, motivational, I don't know. But I have 3 more of these stripes to go before I'm done. And so I was hoping to have it done. But I had some errors where I had to do a lot of ripping back. So, yeah. So this is Loop by Casa Pinka.
Can we just give a little shout out and ear burn Gigi from the Knitmore Girls? Early in the podcast, she told Jasmine one time, when Jasmine was trying to figure out, should I tink something back or should I frog it? And Jasmine said, if you don't like it now, you're not going to like it in 20 rows. And that's kind of been one of our mantras,
Absolutely.
isn't it?
Yep.
So that's why we will tink back, especially if your eye goes to it.
Right.
If it's visual.
And because this is symmetrical, if you're off, I think your eye instantly goes to that portion of the shawl that's not symmetrical. So, yeah, hopefully next time we podcast, this will be a finished object.
Absolutely.
What's on your needles?
Well, what's on my needles are my vanilla latte socks. This is my first time to do the vanilla latte pattern. Second time to do a toe up. See, there you go. Never too old to learn.
Slow down.
And
Start the bus.
hey, listen, I'm all full of surprises this month. I do not have any idea what brand of yarn, but I'm guessing this is Opal.
Yeah.
Looks just like a typical Opal pattern.
Yep.
So,
In the pink and green colorway.
and by the way, just for those of you who have been curious as to know multiple ways to use the bread tie clips, I will use mine as a bobbin at the end of my sock, and then I put my row counter right on it, and my row counter is always with my project.
That's
If you would
delightful.
like me to do a video on how to do this, just let us know.
Okay, look what I use that Penny doesn't use. Oh, stitch markers. It's amazing.
Really?
We'll talk about those later in the frivolous and frugal portion of this podcast. Okay. So you know what? I have nothing else. So what else are you working on?
needles.
You know, I feel like I knit all the time. I don't know why I don't have more of my needles.
I don't know why either. I still have my snowflakes and icicles on my needles, and I neglected to bring those over here. But it is still using the Behind the Pines special colorway for the Pinecone Club that is offered by Bobby at Yarn Craven in Perrysburg, Ohio. And I've got that on my needles. I am not very far because I had all these COFOs and test knits.
Yep.
So I kind of put that to the side. And then I am really unprepared right now.
Let the record reflect yet again.
Would you hand me my little blue bag?
Sure.
Or the blue flower
You
one?
look really short on this video. Okay.
Well, I am short
I know,
compared
but
to you.
not really.
Right over there, the dark blue one.
Okay.
I cast on because of peer pressure.
Yes.
And the
I love
fact
peer
that
pressure.
you saw last month Dawn's ivy over the door in that beautiful deep brown. And I really liked that. And
It really turned out pretty. I was amazed.
I can't find it. Anyway, I went ahead.
Yeah, it's the
I am
purple one.
so.
Right?
It is the purple one. Anyway, I cast on ivy over the door, and I'm doing solids. And I cast it on in Cascade Silk sock yarn, and it will be a solid purple. So I'll make sure that I have that near me next month. We took it on the train yesterday, and I'm sure I have it somewhere.
We knit on a train.
We did.
We need to do that. I
On
will,
the train?
On the train, in a plane,
Airplane.
in the door,
On the floor.
on the floor.
In the air. With even dirty hair. Okay.
We don't
So-
get out much.
No, we don't. So those are the 3 projects I have on my needles.
And Ivy Over the Door is part of the Helen Stewart Shawl Society 3. So that is shawl number 2, I believe, right?
It is.
And then shawl number 4 released this week. We'll talk about that in a little bit as well. Now, I think I've lost some weight. Do you?
I have lost some weight. Absolutely.
The 5th and 6th chin are getting a little smaller. So we're going to use Pearl to show.
I think her arm just fell off. So, if she only had one leg, I'd call her Eileen. But now that she only has
Her arm fell off.
It did, but that's
Okay,
all right. I
all
put
right.
it back on.
Okay.
Okay. So, first
You guys have to
finished
see
item
this.
I have, and by the way, the ends are not tucked in, is the Sheboygan Shawl
Look at this, you guys.
by Joanne Kiley from Magpie's Kitchen, or Magpie's Cottage. And I just would like you to take a look at that shawl. It is done in heritage sock, or
Cascade Heritage sock, yeah.
yes, in
I
black
want
and white.
I want this.
Isn't that wonderful?
That black and white is spectacular.
I like the contrast.
Yep, I do too.
And in Joanne's instructions, she tells you to aggressively block it, and by golly, I did. So mine is really long with plenty of wrap around.
Yeah. So whether you don't want, if you don't want to wear that triangle to the front, it definitely would look great over your shoulders and down your back.
Absolutely.
With this lace, you know, toward the front. So you're gonna get a lot of wear out of this.
I think so too.
I may even too.
Yeah, you might. That would be the
You
frugal
can't
way
pick
to
your
have
sisters,
knits.
can you? Okay.
To steal them.
Oh, that's it. Yeah. What did you steal this month? Well, borrow. We should probably not use
That's
steal.
right.
Okay.
Now, can we share your crown jewel?
Oh yeah. So, this is my dress form. She doesn't have a name.
We need
But,
to give her one.
Casa Pinkham did a 6-week mystery knit-along called Crown Wools, and every week we got 2 clues. And I talked about this. It was about half done, maybe when we podcasted the first time. And it's hard to see because it's such a long rectangle, or I think it technically is probably a parallelogram. But you can see that it was done in the gradients, and I went from light gray to dark gray, dark purple, light purple. So yeah, you know what's fun? 4 inches, couple hours, maybe more than a couple of hours. In each clue, you just got to try a lot of different stitch patterns I hadn't seen before. And I'm gonna say Casa Pinkham is brilliant when it comes to creating texture. If you get a chance, go to the projects, all the various projects on a Ravelry, because some people did them just no gradient, but each one just a different color. It is amazing. Again, at our knit shop, I think 4 of us or 5 of us are doing it. Everyone looks different based on what color was in what pattern.
I like
So
this.
I think it's going to, I'll tell you guys, it was difficult to photograph. I literally went outside and threw it on my climbing hydrangea to get the length of it. I didn't measure it, but I bet it's close to 90 inches.
I bet it is too.
So-
Absolutely.
And I use Miss Babs Yummy 2-ply gradient kits out of stash.
No need to say how nice that feels.
Yeah, wow. Okay, I love those
That
colors
is
too.
gorgeous. Well, they're your colors.
Yeah,
They look very nice on you.
and I love that wool wash.
I do too.
Yeah, that's
Which wool wash did you use?
Ukulon Rapture, is it?
Mm-hmm.
Wow,
I like
cool.
Ukulon also.
Okay, so Penny, she finished a huge project too.
Well, yeah, I did. And mine was on the slow road to completion. I tried to do the knit with Magpie's girls in the fall, but I got miserably behind. And so Dawn and I are going to do a compare and contrast, because I did the lace wrap using the Building with Lace by Knit Pearl Hunter. The yarn choice for this project was Haiku Riley.
Yeah.
And
Oof.
I tried to block it as closest to what Michelle suggested, but mine's much larger. It's 28 inches wide, and it's just under 90 inches long. has 9 different blocks of lace pattern. Now the reason we want to do a compare and contrast with you is because mine's done in this darker charcoal gray, has 3 places of beading. One is the center block and then the 2 borders. So
look at those beads, aren't they fun?
And thank you, Miss Joanne, for saving my life by having an extra 2 tubes of beads, which, by the way, this takes a boatload of beads.
Okay, I'm going to charge you mileage for bringing those. Yeah.
I'm going to charge you a modeling fee. Okay, so you'll get money back.
Yeah. Double of nothing is still nothing, right?
That's right. Any number multiplied by 0.
Yeah.
So you can kind of see the lace. I want you now to see Dawn.
We have to come up with a place to wear these. We need somebody to get married.
Yes. Get married. Or
my husband
coronated.
frowns on me getting married, so okay. He frowns on my dating too. I don't get it. Okay. He doesn't watch the podcast, so we're saying. So here it is in a light gray. I forget the exact name. It's on my project page, but isn't that amazing?
Look at the
difference. So I think it depends on what you're wearing now. If Penny wore a light colored underneath hers, her lace would pop from behind.
Right.
So if I wore something dark, yeah, isn't that is amazing difference.
But I think with Dawn's shawl, you can really definitively see those lace patterns. And as with all of Michelle's patterns that I've knit, she supports it with wonderful instructions and online videos.
She's a great teacher.
She is. And I don't know
we
about...
act like we know her.
Yeah. Actually, we don't even know her. It's amazing. But we will, hopefully, one of these days. She's an Ohioan, Buckeye, like I am. What I like, too, about this shawl is that if you have never knit lace...
Oh, it's a great way to...
I think so, too. We did bobbles. We did everything on this.
I think everybody decides, like, what they like and what they don't like. And do you like nups? Do you not like nups? Do you like putting beads on? I just think it's a great way if you're interested in different techniques in your knitting. So just like that Mystery Knit Along by Casa Pinkham, a few inches, trying something new gives you a fair evaluation. I like it, I don't like it, here's what it worked, here's what didn't work. And I don't know how to fix lace mistakes yet. I know that there's some classes sometimes you can take, and I should, because if I make a mistake in lace, I have to tink back.
I do too.
So, and I should learn to use lifelines, but I don't very often.
And I did, by the way. And here is a very inexpensive way to use lifelines. Imagine that.
That would be frugal.
When I knit this...
Whoa.
No, whoa is when you get frivolous. Woohoo! What I did is I bought cotton crochet thread, and I put in lifelines every time my rows repeated. So if I had an 8-row repeat,
that's what
a
you
lifeline
should do,
went in.
right?
I did, yes. I think that's what she suggests too, is the importance of lifelines. So
the only time you think about lifelines is when you wish you would have had one, right? Because if you have it and it does what it needs to do, then you don't worry so much about it.
Absolutely.
Okay, did you get your cotton thread on sale?
Of course I did.
Did you use a coupon?
Yes, you can do that at Hobby Lobby and Michael's and Joanne Fabrics. And you can get them in large bolts. And I usually have one with me, but I left it at home. Oh. Otherwise, I would show people.
Please bring it next podcast.
I think I'm going to give you one. Show you how to use it. All right. Well, the next segment is weight gains.
Oh, no.
And remember, this is where we have to report. We don't have to. We choose to report any fiber and or accoutrements that we have obtained. Now, just for the record, you go ahead and share yours first, because mine was a setup.
No. Okay. So, look at this. Blue Doxy Dye Works. She's an independent dyer out of Wisconsin, Laurel. She calls this colorway Lake. Did I say that right? Colorway?
Yes.
Lake. So Sheboygan is right on Lake Michigan. And the blues and the greens in there, isn't that something?
They're
She's
gorgeous.
new at this. She's phenomenal. I just thought that color lake was perfect. It is a 75-25 merino nylon, and I don't understand twist really well, but this definitely has good definition to the yarn. It's not
Absolutely.
a single, it's plied. So the other thing I found fascinating is, I'm going to read you what she puts on her ball band because it's the first time I've seen it. She says under washing instructions, once dyed, the fiber is washed and rinsed well, but colors may bleed slightly in the first few washings. For best results, hand wash a finished object in cold water and lay flat to dry.
I appreciate those
I do
instructions.
too.
I do.
Yeah, so this is Lake by Blue Doxy Dye Works.
Very nice. Okay, my weight gain was because of my sister. And she gave me some yarns actually for some Christmas gifts. And so I didn't bring all mine because, you know, I had a guest riding with me and I felt like I didn't want her to get crowded. So you have to be kind to your mannequin. She could decide not to cooperate with us. Anyway, Dawn gave me, and it's all listed, it'll be in my show notes, 2 skeins, 100-gram skeins of Cascade, what do they call those? The special anthems, the anthem colorways
for
sports teams. And that's for a couple of hats for Christmas. She also gave me a couple of skeins of, what is it called? The single colors ones. I can't think of it. It'll come to my mind.
Either.
But they were green and gold also for Green Bay Packers. That's going to be
it
for
was
Christmas.
Simplicity by
Simplicity
Haiku.
by Haiku. Yes,
That's
thank
great
you.
yarn too.
And I've never knit with Simplicity.
So obviously we are Packer country, and Penny has a son who is trying to be Packer fan. So we have to support the addiction. So.
Absolutely.
All right.
So I gained a total of 250 grams this month. If only. Okay.
Can I use that to report on my HRA at work this week?
That's it.
Who thought of HRAs, by the way? All right. This is, I've never had it, been to a trunk show. So our little yarn shop had a trunk show. And I know you can't read the label, but look at these colors. So this is, I want to make sure I get it right, Twin Mommy Creations. She is in Florida, but I believe vacationed as a child in the Wisconsin area and then on up into the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, where she as a child and now with her children collect the agates on Lake Superior. And her picture on her website has the agates laying on top of this yarn. But again, nice, rich colors.
Depth.
It was so nice to meet her. I don't know about you guys, but you probably know I have a bad case of FOMO. I also have a bad case of fangirl. So, I don't know if I talked about this, but when I meet some like famous knitter that I've seen or took classes using their patterns or watched their podcast, and you meet them the first time face to face. When I meet an independent dyer who takes their talent to do something like this, I am amazed by them. And you know what? They're just like you and I. Well, okay.
They just have a special gift.
They do, and they use their gift amazingly. So, a trunk show, she just set up one night during open knit, and then when people were done shopping, she sat down and knit with us for a couple hours. It was fantastic.
That.
So, Twin Mommy Creations. I may have bought other yarn since the last.
So you don't have a true.
I feel no obligation.
My goodness, you are cheating.
So what Penny and I are going to try to do, and remind us from this, we don't want to just keep bringing what we buy. We want to show it to you when we use it. Mm-hmm. So I've made some purchases of some kits for upcoming shawls that we'll show those yarns to you, and you did too.
I did.
So
I did.
Yeah, I just think it's nice to see them in action. But in the show notes will be some of the purchases if you're interested, but we will show those to you guys once we work them up, or in the next millennium.
Whichever absolutely
first.
Okay. Oh my
Okay.
goodness.
I know. Why? I
don't know.
It's frivolous.
But I'm calling a whoa. You have to start declaring the truth.
No.
Now, I think those were all of our weight gains. Our weight losses this month.
We talked about those with our finished objects, right?
Oh, we did. Thank you very much. I'm sorry. Our segment signs were a bit confused.
So all of our episode segments start with WH.
They do. We love alliteration. I think we said that.
I can't even
Next
say the word.
segment. Where to knit?
Uh-oh.
You guys.
So we're in the suburbs of Chicago.
Oh, we are.
Which actually is a great place for Penny and I to meet because it's about halfway for both of us. Yesterday, well, I should back up. I watch a lot of podcasts. I do. And, hey, okay, I'm going to do a little segue. Several people have asked us since the first episode, why are you guys doing a podcast? And I'm going to cry.
I know. It's
I know. Okay.
You can do it.
Gosh, you guys, knitting in a community is so important to Penny and I. We're big families, but we're apart. So we love to knit with people. So even one of the other things we got to do yesterday was go to downtown Chicago and see our niece. Gosh, it was so much fun.
It was. Absolutely.
So, okay, I'm going to get my composure. Cleansing breath.
That's right.
I'm going to put this down here just for fun. If you ever see cleavage from me, it's totally accidental because it was on purpose.
That would mean you're looking at her waist, by the way. Anyway,
So, back to the podcast and communities. So, I watch 3 Ply podcasts. Those 3 ladies who are living in a suburb of Chicago too. You can tell that they are part of a knitting community that has brought them great joy, great fun. Those ladies are remarkable. And so, on their podcast, we heard about Elgin Knitworks. It is a knit shop owned by Betsy and Linda, a delightful little shop. So we actually met there yesterday. And while we were there, Angie from 3 Ply Podcast walked in. Okay, so remember when I said I'm fangirl? I was like, oh my God.
I know, you didn't even turn red or cry.
I know. You guys, I cried the first time I saw Susan B. Anderson.
She did.
It was embarrassing.
It was fun.
Oh no, it was embarrassing. Wow. So, I bet we spent an hour there or so.
I bet.
And how wonderful to meet people who are like-minded. So, I think all of us who are part of a community at a local yarn shop understand that we are there because of our love for knitting. That's what brings us all together. But around the table sit so many different people. And they become part of your family. And I just think that is something, if you've never been part of a knitting community, that we both yearn for in ways that we can't even describe. And so that's part of the podcast, is to virtually expand our community. People sent us really nice comments about our first podcast, which, for the record, it had some issues, right?
Couldn't be that either of us have issues.
Have what?
It couldn't be that either of us have issues. It was just the podcast.
We've threatened our family. We're going to bring a family counselor onto the podcast, a family therapist, to help us.
That would be worth paying for an episode right there.
So, we got to meet Angie. It was just simply delightful. We took a picture, and if we knew how to include it in a podcast, we would put it in, but we don't know how to do that. So.
Not yet. We're relying upon Google and YouTube to help us with this editing process. But can I also add, Dawn, that I think what I appreciated about Betsy and Miss Linda when we were in there is that they took time to chat with us.
Yes.
We literally are no one. They didn't know us. We didn't know them. They set down what they were doing. They visited with us. They helped us with yarn choices.
Right. Yep.
And even invited us to come and knit during an open knit.
Yeah.
And I just have to say that Miss Betsy was eager to even help us find hotels.
The next time we're in town. Can you believe that?
I can't even believe that. That overwhelms me because we're just ordinary people. So if you are ever in the Chicago area, it's a destination. It is a small, delightful little shop with a nice area that you can sit around the table and knit. And I would wholeheartedly recommend it. And then Miss Angie, what a sweetie!
Just as adorable as she is on the podcast.
Yes.
And gracious and unbelievable. So
if you don't watch their podcast, tune in to 3 Ply and definitely see what's happening in the Chicago area.
And if we can figure out how to put that link in the show notes, we'll try that too.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Okay, I have to confess though, I did eat some chocolate that was on the back table.
You didn't?
Yeah, I ate one piece.
How did I not know about that?
Because I put something over the top of it, so in case I wanted more.
Okay, from now on, I'm sticking right next to you. I'm not going to let an opportunity like that pass me by.
I can't wait for that opportunity.
Of course you can't.
So we'll put all the links for Elgin Networks.
In the RAV, can I say something about show notes? We are not allowed to put links in YouTube yet because we don't have enough viewers.
Yeah, I don't know how that
so
works. So
we just get text. That's all you get in those show notes. However, if you go to Ravelry, you have live links. So if that's what you're looking for, be sure to see those show notes.
Yeah.
All right. What's up?
Well,
We've got some upcoming events.
Yeah, upcoming events.
Okay. Yes, please do share.
Okay. You guys, in 3 weeks, or is it 2 weeks? 3 weeks?
Oh,
I'm going to attend the Ann Buds Knit for Fun Knitting Retreat in Sturgeon Bay, Wisconsin. There's 5 of us going from our shop.
Oh, my goodness.
The teachers not only are Ann Bud, but we get to take a class from Susan Anderson, a class from Lauren Nelkin, and a class from Olga, I can't pronounce her last name. Wow, how exciting. There's like great vendors coming for the event. It's a Thursday through Sunday. Beautiful Door County. Fall will probably be getting close to starting to see some color changes up there. And it's on the Bay of Green Bay, so it's a beautiful location up in Door County.
And how neat that the 5 of you ladies who have forged relationships around the table of knitting can go together.
Okay, and it may have something to do with FOMO. I
You
can't
think?
say no.
No, you can't.
Okay, I say no, and then say, okay, right. You talked me into it. Yes, so.
Oh my goodness.
There's several of us that are teachers, so we actually had to take a day off. We had to take a personal day to go knitting.
Hey, some things are worth it, right? What would you want?
I may have said that.
You were having a procedure?
Yeah, I may have been having a colonoscopy or something. That's not true. I just said I wanted a personal day. So.
All right, you have more of what's going on at Magpie Cottage. What's happening in Sheboygan Falls?
So, Joanne, who's the owner, and Laurel, who's at Indie Dye I was talking about before,
Blue Doxy Dye Works.
Blue Doxy Dye Works, are going to start having a subscription called Doggy Bags. All of Laurel's lines of her yarn refer to her dogs.
And they're dachshunds?
I guess that would be.
We're making this Laurel correct us if we're wrong.
I don't know the difference. So in this, let me go back here a little bit. You get a project bag that Joanne makes.
Fun.
Oh no, Penny's gonna end up with a project bag. And then every month, Laurel will dye up a color. Now this is blowing out, isn't it?
It is.
This is gonna be called Retirement Wishes.
It's got some neon in it, and I think that's reflecting.
It's interesting that it's blown out because last time they didn't blow out.
Yeah, we have studio lights that we now travel with. Well, this would be the first time we've traveled with it, so we might need to play with those a little bit.
Now, if I understand how the doggy bag subscription works, you can go to magpiescottage.com. You can order 1, 2, or 3 skeins of the same color, and then the size of your project bag will vary. So obviously 1 skein would be a smaller project bag. And if I know these ladies, they're probably going to put some goodies in there.
Oh, they're very gracious.
They're very gracious. So this starts October 1st, and we'll include the link, but you can go to magpiescottage.com. Joanne just has a nice knack of making different project bags. Obviously, this is the drawstring one. She's made some that have the clear, the mesh. She's got great color choices.
She does.
So it's a collaboration between Blue Doxy Dye Works and Joanne. And the reason they're calling it retirement is maybe one of them's going to retire. I don't know.
Or a couple of us, maybe.
A couple.
Who knows?
All right. Very good.
A little bit of what's going on in my neck of the woods. Yarn Craven, the yarn shop that I attend locally, is going to have a retreat the 3rd weekend of September. And our retreat at this point, I think, is full, but there is a waiting list if you're going to be in our neck of the woods. It will go from Friday evening at 5 till Sunday at 2, I believe. And really, it's just a time to sit around and knit with the ladies that you enjoy. There's going to be a massage therapist there if you'd like a massage. There are a couple of small classes you can take on how to make stitch markers.
So Penny's taking that class?
Oh, yeah, probably not. I'm going to be knitting. I'm going to try and crank out one project that weekend.
Oh, that would be nice.
Which is what I did last year. Last year, in that weekend, I knit Joanne Kylie's pattern. What was it? Impossible? No, Possibility Shawl. Infinite Possibility Shawl. I was able to crank out one of those.
Infinite Possibilities is that scarf.
The scarf.
So are you talking this way than that? The
No,
scarf.
no,
It's like
scarf.
a big, doesn't have it's like an infinite.
Yeah, it's
It
what I
doesn't
got
have
the
the
girls.
twist in it, but yeah.
Yes.
I did a couple of those last year for Christmas gifts too.
And so I was able to crank that out, and that was 200 grams of worsted, so it was a nice knitting time. So if you're in that neck of the woods, please visit yarncraven.com. That's their website. Anything else happening?
Well, I'm taking that Mystery Shawl Mania. So the loop shawl that I showed you earlier was just a bonus shawl if you signed up to take the 4 shawl. So yesterday while we were driving here, they had the release of the new pattern. Now, I don't know how I knew while I was driving here what that pattern was.
I don't either. Sure, couldn't have been because you were surfing.
Nope, I don't do that in
When you
drive.
stopped to get a coffee
There you
or a
go.
pop.
When I stopped to get a soda, I looked. So they, Amy Schultze, who's the teacher that has picked a shawl by Laura Ayler called Therapy. So I haven't even printed the pattern yet because we just got here, but that will be a shawl now that runs for 2 months. So I will look forward to it. It's a 3-color shawl. It looked asymmetrical, but I could be wrong about that. So we'll all be working on that now when we get together on Thursday nights. And a new pattern, she releases a new shawl selection once every 2 months, and we're doing 4 shawls, so that'll take us into the spring. She picked little bigger shawls this time, which is why we're getting 2 months to knit, because that's good, because on Thursday, Helen Stewart released her shawl number 4 in the Shawl Society.
Yes.
Get a chance to look at it online. Oh my gosh, you guys.
I really like it. It's a 3-color shawl.
Look at it from even
using
that
a
black and the
mosaic
white.
technique. Yeah, it's nice.
Called Planting Seeds.
It's done in a taupey brown and
A cream?
deep coral.
I'd say that's a deep coral in her pattern.
Yes.
So we've been messing around with some color options. Can you use variegates? Can you use speckled? So because I missed that class yesterday, I can't wait to see the color combinations.
Well, I'll give you a hint. I'm doing mine in our school colors. So I'm going to be doing an off-white, a brown, a deep chocolate brown, and an orange, because I can't wear brown or orange, but I think in a shawl on school color days I'll be able to wear that.
Yeah. She bought yarn yesterday. She didn't report it for weight gain. So, yeah. But that's because she hasn't started the shawl yet.
Whoa.
So busted.
Busted!
I may have bought some yarn too. So that means right now I have 5 shawls on the needles.
On the needles.
Well, 2 pretty soon, but wow, that's a lot of shawls.
It's a lot of
to try to keep focused, but again, that FOMO, I can't see no.
Oh my God, it has something to do with being the middle child, I'm sure.
So I think that's probably it for
what's in. Well,
what's in?
We were in Chicago visiting our niece, and right now she's working on a cowl that she made up the pattern for. So she's a college student, so we didn't chat a whole lot about what's in with knitting, but we know that she wears cowls, and she was going to knit her sweetie a hat, right, for Christmas?
And he even said he would wear it.
Absolutely.
So there's a bonus point.
Absolutely.
So we got to meet her young man yesterday.
We did.
Just to be on that college campus and to see, we remember when she was born, so to see her,
we both were like, when she used the pronoun we,
like we. Okay, she was just little, and I bought her frilly dresses.
Yes, you did.
Wow. So she will tell us as fall gets closer, kind of what's in on the college campuses that kids are wearing as far as knitwear. And then we'll check in with our niece who's down in Nashville. So obviously climate change there, and what they wear there I think will be markedly different. And then we both work on college campuses too, so we will see what
patterns and trends we find.
Colors. When we were at Elgin Knitwork yesterday, they were saying that one of the in colors is going to be that green, right? Kind of, I don't know how you describe it.
Go ahead.
They'd gone to Paris.
Like a chartreuse green?
Yeah, maybe a muted chartreuse.
Yes. Yes, I guess they go to Paris every so often. I don't know that it's every year, but they take a look at the patterns and trends in design and then try to use foresight and foreplanning to bring them to Chicago. One of the stories they were telling us is that they were in Paris and tassels were in. How many years ago was that?
Yeah, 4?
4 years ago. Everything had tassels, so they came back to their knit shop and started adding tassels, and everybody's like, what are you doing? Tassels aren't in, and lo and behold, now they're here. So it's just kind of fun to see those trends in knitwear.
Yeah, and how long it takes to get to the Midwest.
Right.
Well, I suppose a while to get to the United States, and then the bigger cities, and then...
Yeah.
Yeah,
So Dawn, what's on your sock machine?
So I have the Earl Bacher Gearhart. Did I say that right? Earl Bacher Gearhart Speedster, 64 cylinder, 64 needle. I named her Lizzie.
Lizzie?
So my son used to love that Pixar movie, Cars.
Yes.
Remember with Lightning McQueen and all those guys?
I do.
And Lizzie was the little old lady whose husband was like the fire chief or something. So here is one of the socks. I try to practice an hour a day. Now with school starting this last week, I didn't get an hour a day in this week. But one of my new techniques I'm trying to learn is how to do contrasting toes, heels, and cuffs. And because I'm new to the machine, it takes me a while to figure out how to do the color change and make them look nice. Now this one, because it wasn't self-striping, I didn't put the contrast heel in. But I kind of like the look of it.
I do too.
So I just have to get used to that color change and how it changes tension and make it look nice. So I did do 2 for the record.
And do you remember what yarn you used?
This was by, why do I want to think Diamond?
Okay.
It is a sock brand. I just thought this looked pretty neutral. Although I have to tell you, 4 flaws in
What?
in 100 gram skein. And you know what I mean by flaw? That yarn just for a little, maybe 2 inches gets thicker.
Yes.
I'm not fast enough to catch that going through the machine. And so when I'm cranking and those thicker parts get in, I feel it catches
Drag.
and I'm not good enough to know yet on that how to do that and not have drop stitches. So, and then I think this is just some Regia that I had.
Oh, for your
So
contrast.
I'm hoping to get quite a few different solids to go for contrasting. And then this is a next sock, and I only did 2 this month. This is Heritage sock print.
Okay.
And because it's self-striping, I had to do the opposing color for the heel. So that was a little trickier to get that heel in.
I like the pattern though. I've
do.
never knit with Heritage.
I think it's
have,
Heritage
but not
print,
but
yeah.
patterned.
And this was Deep Stash, so who knows? And then again, just a Regia, I think, that had this purple. So again, I think I'm going to try to do contrasting heels and toes on some socks, and then I'll put the cuff and toes. I'll put the heel in for self-striping to keep the stripe going. So this is all knitted on the machine. So you start at the cuff and with the toe, and then you just have to catch near the toes closed. If I have some time this next month or the following month, I want to try them. They have videos on how to start at the toe and go all the way up so there's no sewing. Yeah,
I think that would be cool.
So yeah, Earl Bacher Gearhart. Now I hear that there's weekends called crank-ins.
Come on.
Bring your little machine and crank all weekend.
Well, we had scrapbookings.
Yeah, it's kind
Scrapbook
of the same.
weekends, quilting weekends.
So yeah, I'm gonna say maybe 10 pairs of socks now for the machine. 10,
I'll bet.
maybe. So if I
Very
get a couple
nice.
done next month, that would be nice.
I do have one last tidbit, just to extend multiple ways to to be innovative when it comes to project bags. You want my woe?
Oh yeah. Whoa.
If you, since we are in the college season, if you are at any of the big box stores and probably even Bed Bath & Beyond or one of those type stores, and you buy linens, especially for the extra long twins, they now come in cloth bags. So the fitted sheet will be in a cloth bag, and so will the flat sheet, and usually the Dawn, and usually the pillowcases wrap around. Well, do you know what fits inside of those? And you have an elastic top, so you can put a skein of yarn in the bag, feed it out, and it's not rolling all over the floor. And
That
you
is
have
simply
a couple
amazing.
and this particular one happens to be in a burgundy and taupe plaid. So I just needed to share just another little frugal tidbit. Thank you for humoring me.
My life will now be complete. You complete me. What movie was that? So here is our little frivolous. Is that what's next? I wasn't even paying attention.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so we joke a lot about stitch markers and progress keepers because I believe all good knitting projects need bling. Now, there's purposes, right, to using stitch markers. They come in all different colors,
Absolutely.
all different shapes. And Penny, who is very frivolous when she buys me gifts, is not frivolous when she uses these for her own knitting. And so that's kind of the frugal kick. So like last month she showed you project bags brought to you by Ziploc.
Or Hefty.
Or Hefty. Reused, mind you. So you cannot believe how many comments I've gotten in the last month about, oh, I use Ziploc all the time.
Absolutely.
We don't care.
Thank
It's
you.
just kind of a joke we play with each other. So I think a lot of us use those. But when it comes to, I think you need to show them your bread markers. Do you have some? Oh, wait a minute. Yes. Okay. So we have more fun at knit night trying to come up with frugal gifts for Penny. So
What are you talking about?
I think if you have stitch markers, you better have
no.
nice containers. So look at, this is a nice container brought to you by Oil of Olay. Okay. So, and what's in there? Stitch markers.
What? Look at
Look,
this.
all of these.
You're killing
And
me.
do you know that this became quite a topic? Do you know that the color of the stitch marker, or the stitch marker, now
See,
you got
there
me.
you go.
What are these called? Bread what?
They're called bread closures.
Bread closures. I don't think that's the name, but thanks for making it up. Okay, bread ties.
Bread ties? Okay,
whatever.
that works.
Bread closures. Okay.
But-
This, like red, if you Google it, that means this bread was made on a certain day of the week. Like red is Mondays, blue is Tuesdays. Did you guys know that?
See, yet another thing to add to your Ravelry page. Cast on. Cast it on a Tuesday. How do I know that? Because I used a white bread tie.
But what if there's an expiration date? Then you have to throw
You
them out.
can write on it with a
Oh, yeah.
Sharpie, Dawn.
So you two
gotta
can
be
bling
creative.
these. I'm gonna bring some glitter glue.
No.
And we're gonna bling these up.
You're gonna bejewel it. That's
I
exactly
see. Do I dare say this? As a bobbin, you might have me.
It works. I'm telling you, Dawn. Look it. That's what I did with my tail
So,
of my yarn.
I knit socks all the time. I don't have bobbins and I don't have row markers.
Then
Yeah, good question. I don't know. I know what you're gonna ask. How do I know how many rows I'm on? I don't know.
well, hey, I do have a tip for you, and I borrowed this from a friend of mine, Rhonda. She puts in a marker for every 10 rows.
Oh, how genius. She probably uses real stitch
She
markers.
does use real stitch
So,
markers. She has
if
good taste
you
in stitch markers.
if we ever have prizes, guess what you're gonna get?
Absolutely, and we'll share them with you. We
We
have
will.
no problem. We probably won't give you your prices in a used Ziploc, but you just might get them in a new one.
Stop.
I
They're really
know.
cheap right now because of back to school.
There you go.
Okay.
So why wouldn't
So
we?
you guys know, you can buy stitch markers by the sets. I went and visited Penny's little knit shop behind.
No,
Pines?
it's called Yarn Crate.
Oh, this Bobby makes these behind the pines little stitch markers that are set. But the prizes don't end. The gifts don't end.
What?
Brought to you specifically by Joanne.
You're killing me here.
She hasn't
This
seen
is
this.
like Christmas
Okay,
and
this
totally
rocks. Okay.
surprise.
It is a stitch stitch marker. That's a penny. It's a real penny. No, I don't think that might be illegal to I don't know. But she had somebody who drilled that tiny little hole, and this is a frugal stitch marker brought to you.
Miss Joanne, you're killing me. You're brilliant. I will use it. I will use it, absolutely. Thank you, Miss Joanne. You're so funny.
I buy these little, I don't know what they call it. They were Joann's. They were on sale. It was cute.
They're great for travel.
For different stitch markers. But I'll tell you some stitch markers that I think we're starting to see that I appreciate. Penny and I and some other ladies went to the Zombie Knitpocalypse in Rochester, Minnesota in June. Somebody, one of the people there, walked around and gave us all these little stitch markers for the state of Minnesota.
That is cute.
You know, how gracious. They didn't know, but they went around.
Yes.
Joanne gave us one at the beginning of a knit-in once that I'll show you that I thought was a good idea. And so if you go to knitting retreats or knit-ins, we always wonder how much we get knit over the weekend. Because sometimes when you're talking, your knitting doesn't work, so then you rip it out. So she gave us one on a Friday night. It says 2018. I don't know if you can see that. But we were to put it on our knitting at the start of the knit-in.
I like that.
And then to see where it was at the end of the knit-in. I just thought that was a nice little way to add some bling as well. So I use stitch markers far more than I use progress keepers.
Do you really?
And had I been thinking, I'd have put one in on the loop where it was last month when we podcasted to see. And then if I was embarrassed, I would have moved it.
Oh, where's my, whoa, 2 lies, 3 and you're out.
Cheryl at our little knit shop made the logo from magpies.
Did she?
A little magpie and gave us all this little. So I know you can't see all these, but
is that like on shrink art?
I think it was. Remember Shrinky
Shrinky
Dinks?
Dinks?
I remember Shrinky Dinks. I remember Incredible Edibles too. The other thing that I really like and I find myself using more and more are these little pins. They look almost like a safety pin that are colored that I can use for stitch markers. So that loop shawl is like 380 stitches on the needle. So instead of counting all the time, I just put one stitch marker every 20 stitches, so it's much easier for me to count. So I just think if you go to knitting conferences, knit shops, Etsy, there are so many, like Coco Knits. I love their stitch markers.
Really?
Bought those, and those come in these kind of containers.
Oh, fun.
So they're cardboard.
You can get mini cheese wheels in containers like that and reuse them.
Mini cheese wheels.
I'm thinking.
Okay,
Go
yeah.
ahead.
And then you gave me this one.
Oh, I wouldn't buy such a thing.
I think, didn't you?
Oh, I
Did you
think
buy
I
this?
might have. Maybe. I don't remember.
Why do I think they were from Hiya Hiya? But
Oh, I
look
think-
at
yes.
these.
That's so cute.
Wow. All right. And then, last, and then I won't go on with this. I bought a project bag from Craft House Magic. She has an Etsy store, Ellie. She also has a podcast. She broadcasts from England. But when she does a project bag, she always has inside some little stitch markers. So the bag had bees on the outside. And then look at those, they're little bees.
Oh, Dawn.
So how nice, just kind of included when you purchase the bag. So that was good. And then I ordered a kit from Barrett Wool Co., which is Susan B. Anderson's wool company. But this stitch marker, this one locks down. See how it rotates and locks in so that it won't open up in my little bag and then spill all over. And then the logo on the front.
How cute.
I thought that was good marketing too.
Now, I will say this. If you buy salves at... Hey, hear me out.
Stitch markers brought to you by Carmex. Right? I'm seeing it.
Actually, there you go. I have cleaned out a salve tin and used that.
I forgot to clean this out before I gave it to you, so it still may smell. And this is age defying, so
thank you.
this should make us look younger by the next podcast.
There we go. I
All
like
right.
the way you think.
Oh, and look at this. Okay,
What?
we
You
went
are
crazy.
going nuts.
Look at these little Ziploc bags. So these are for you. Oh, look at all the colors of the bread closures, or whatever you call them. And you can have square
You are
ones.
hilarious.
And you can have...
You women at Magpies,
Ooh.
I hope you know how much I love you.
Well,
Oh, I just love
We
you
do.
all.
but yeah, look at, we are just... And then you can even get smaller Ziploc bags that people give medications in.
Yes.
So,
And maybe one day we'll show a purpose for that, included with your linen.
So progress
Elastic
keepers,
inside.
stitch markers, they all have purposes, but I also think they all had some bling if you're into adding a little bit of bling to your knitting.
Well,
And it's fun.
and let me be the first.
It isn't at an expense, so you just have to kind of keep that in mind.
Well, and let me be the first to say this. I think knitting should be a pleasurable aesthetic experience. And personally, I get distracted by shiny objects. So, colorful objects, loud noises, whatever.
Children,
grandchildren. And what I love about the knitting community, which Dawn and I were chatting about yesterday, is there's room for everyone. This is not, and it never should be, an exclusionary community.
Right.
There's room for everyone at the table. So, yeah.
I think you even go to these knitting conferences and they have people who meet up and exchange stitch markers.
Absolutely.
So if you want to participate, you can. If you don't want to participate, there's no pressure. I love retreats like that.
I do too.
Where there's no, you choose your level of participation. So.
Absolutely.
Good. We need to finish this up.
We do.
Are we really at an hour?
Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness.
That's too long.
Watches. All right.
I did grab my knitting. This is just the Ivy over the wall shawl in the purple, just so you can see that it is on my needles. So I think that's it, Dawn. I think we have definitely used our time up. I can't think of anything else. Please continue to, I have to get to our document here real quick. Please continue to give us your feedback. Like us on Facebook. Isn't that what you do?
You like on Facebook, you subscribe on YouTube, join our Ravelry group. It's in the groups tab. We're eventually going to do a knit along. We think it's going to be shawls, but we'll try to get that ironed out for next time. And we're on Ravelry under the Frivolous and Frugal podcast. You can find us on Instagram and Facebook as well. We're going to try to put little videos out throughout the month before we get together again. You probably are seeing all those interviews now where the knitter interviews their husband and asks them knitting questions. I've done that video with my husband, and so maybe in a couple weeks we'll put that up so that we see. We forgot to take video at Elgin Knitwork yesterday. We didn't take any videos with our niece yesterday.
I know.
We've got to get better at this.
I agree. But
Or
if
not.
you have any questions, don't hesitate to email us at frivolousdawn@gmail.com or frugalmisspenny@gmail.com.
Yeah, I forgot that. Yep.
And until next time, may your knitting be a sweet twist of frivolous and frugal. That is a tongue twister.
And I say that's a wrap. See you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.